Hey, what's up everybody? Today we're going to be installing some hydraulic disc brakes onto this Flyer e-bike. If you don't know, a lot of e-bikes these days just come with a basic mechanical disc brake, and these are pretty underpowered for the size of the bike. So today we're just going to be swapping on some basic Shimano hydraulic brakes. This will cost you probably about $80 in the parts. If you did have a shop install them, of course, there'd be a little labor involved there, but it's a very, very cheap and effective way to get more stopping power for your bike. Step one will just be taking off all the controls from the handlebars. You're going to take off both of the brake levers and disconnect the brake sensors as well. And then we're going to go down to the front brake here, and we're just going to go ahead and disconnect everything. Technically, you could just remove the caliper itself. You wouldn't need to take off this IS mount, but we just want to kind of clean everything up since this bike has been used a little bit. Now with mechanical disc brakes, how they work is only one side is actually pushing the rotor, and it kind of just pushes the rotor into the fixed pad, which is on the inside of the bike. That's the side on the right side right now. One thing I have been asked about is what do you do with the brake sensors if you just install a OEM aftermarket hydraulic disc brake? Obviously the Shimano ones don't have any type of brake sensor connections, and you really don't need them. If you don't believe me, just go disconnect your brake sensors, take the bike for a ride, and you'll see exactly what I mean. You really just have to be cognizant about when you're stopping and going, and just know that if you do need to stop, you need to stop pedaling, and then the motor shuts off and it just acts like a normal bike. So now we got that front brake all hooked up and it's ready to go. Now the fun's going to be installing this rear one. We did have to cut the line, and we're going to have to install it and push the line through the frame, which can be a little bit of a challenge, but after a few minutes we got it out. And then once we got everything reinstalled, the brake levers do need to have a basic bleed. We're just going to do a lever bleed on these. There's no reason to really do the full bleed setup on here. A lever bleed is super easy to do. All you're going to do is just install the bleed funnel, put a little bit of the mineral oil in the funnel, and then you're just going to pump the brakes a few times. And as you can see there's a couple of bubbles kind of working their way through. And what you can do as well is you're going to tap the brake line, and this is going to help move any of the bubbles up to the lever and help just push those out. And then we're just going to do the other side as well. And as you can see, there's a couple of small bubbles, but everything looks pretty good. And here's the bike in all its glory. Flyer actually sent us this bike so we can use it as a demo. And again, after using it for a while, we just kind of found that the brakes were pretty underpowered. And since we had these Shimano brakes kicking around, we wanted to install them and just see how much better they were. And it makes a load of difference. Previously, it would probably take, I don't know, 20, 30 feet if you just like casually squeeze the brakes to bring you to a stop. With these, you squeeze them, you're coming to an instant stop. They have a much more stopping power. And just to go over a few of the specs, the wheel size on this is a 26-inch. Tires are a 3-inch. It does come with front and back lights, which are really nice. And of course, stock, they're going to come with the Tektro mechanical disc brakes, which is nice just because they're a name brand. It's better than some of the kind of crap China stuff you see on here. We did just almost hit the 200-mile mark, so we've been kind of getting used to this bike and just testing it out around town, using it to like run errands and stuff like that. And it really makes your life a lot easier than having to hop in a car or even just riding a regular pedal bike around to drop someone off at the post office or anything like that. Overall, the bike's been great. Really, the only complaint was the brakes were pretty underpowered, and now that we have that sorted out, we're all loving it. Everybody at the shop gets to ride it around and have a good time.